If you're a prosecutor in the United States today and one of your jobs is to prosecute Donald Trump, you got to be loving the fact that this guy absolutely loves the spotlight. He loves to have people see his posts on social media, so he has to say crazy and outrageous and stupid things, and he loves being interviewed, he loves being on TV, he loves being on podcasts, and every time he does these things, he says something that pretty much can and will be used against him in court. And this week, of course, was no exception when Donald Trump did an interview with conservative talk show host Hugh Hewitt, and Trump admitted that he was allowed to take classified documents from the White House. He said, "I'm allowed to do it." Here is the full quote of what Donald Trump told Hewitt. "Like the records case, I come under the Presidential Records Act. I'm allowed to do it. Biden's not allowed to do it because he wasn't president. It's a special act that was passed in great detail in 1977, in tremendous detail. It tells you everything you're allowed to do, and it's not criminal. It has nothing to do with the criminal. It's not a criminal act." Unbelievable, right? I mean, not only does he say, "I'm allowed to do it." So that statement is going to be played in court, probably in every court case that you're facing, whether it's the documents case or the Georgia case, or hell, maybe even the fraud trial coming up in New York next month. They're going to play that clip probably on a loop that just says, "I'm allowed to do it. I'm allowed to do it. It's kind of that thing where it just shows how disconnected you are from reality. It shows that narcissism and that affluenza, if you will, you've gone through life without being punished for everything, so you genuinely believe you're allowed to do whatever the hell you want. That's probably not going to work well with a jury. But on top of that statement that I'm allowed to do it, Biden's not, in addition to that, everything else you actually said in that statement is completely wrong. Like, none of that is true. Like, you're out there saying the Presidential Records Act says the president's allowed to do anything he wants. Woohoo, party time. And it's great detail. It's in great detail, tons of details, more details than you can shake a stick at. Because I love how he just repeats the dumbest part of each sentence like over and over. Like, they passed it in great detail. There's tons of details. I mean, details everywhere. That is, in fact, not what the Presidential Records Act says. And actually, the Presidential Records Act is, in fact, a criminal act as well. Because the Presidential Record Act says that any and all communications to and or from the President of the United States are in fact the property of the U.S. government and specifically the National Archives, which means anything that the President himself or herself creates is not the President's property, it's the property of the federal government. Furthermore, anything that somebody creates for the President of the United States, for example, they write a memo, give it to Donald Trump or whoever the president is, that memo is not Trump's property, it is the property of the United States government. The act is punishable by up to 3 years in prison, and it can include, but not always, a barring of holding public office here in the United States, kind of similar to the 14th Amendment, though not on the same insurrectionist grounds. So there are criminal penalties. So Trump's wrong that it's not a criminal act, because it is. He's wrong that it says the president gets to do whatever and have as much fun as he wants, because that's not even a part of it. He is completely misrepresenting this because he thinks the conservative base, Hugh Hewitt and his audience included, are just brain-dead morons who don't know any better. I mean, at this point, we're dealing with an American population where most people, I'm talking like, 90+%, have access to the internet. Like, at least on a weekly basis. Maybe not every day, but at least on a weekly basis, these people have access to the internet. So they can go type into their search engine, Presidential Records Act. And then you click on probably the first thing that pops up there and read what the act is. And you'll see that nothing that Trump said is actually in there. But he's counting on people not to do that. And I guarantee you there probably was nobody listening to Hugh Hewitt's show that's actually going to do it. Luckily, I have done it, so I can tell you with confidence that every single thing that Donald Trump said was wrong. But more importantly, the "I'm allowed to do it" part is definitely going to be used against you by Jack Smith in, I'm willing to bet, at least one of your criminal trials. Hey everyone, this is Aspen. And did you know that for the low cost of $0 per day, you can subscribe to the Fair and Balanced YouTube channel? We also encourage you to like, comment, and share, but again, click that subscribe button and help Aspen not be so grumpy.